So we have a tweet here from someone who wants to know how uh, how basically how does depression kill? And my response to this is to say that depression kills because it's one of the complications of depression. That when a person is depressed, they can develop feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness and helplessness. And eventually they start to have self-harming thoughts, which could then lead to actual intent and eventually the act of suicide and possibly the end of their lives. However, whereas the commonest cause of death from depression is suicide, depression can alter the course of other illnesses, physical illnesses. For example, a person may have diabetes, gets depressed, and is unable to maintain the expectations that the health professionals may have placed on them, like controlling their diets, getting in enough exercise, and ensuring that they're taking their medications on time and so on. And eventually that could alter the course of that illness and increase the rate at which people die from diabetes. The same with high blood pressure. So we have another tweet here that reads that incidences of depression are on the rise, and that a neighbor of theirs who was a doctor hanged themselves despite having all this property that included a house, a hospital, cars, and so on. So the question then arises, why do people get depressed? Depression arises out of very many different possible causes. But probably the biggest cause of depression is actually the genetics of the illness, that we recognize that individuals get depressed for different reasons, for different reasons. But when you subject individuals to a variety of what you might refer to as psychosocial stressors, some individuals will decompensate and actually get depressed, while others will not. And we think that genetics have a big role to play in that, but also that some people are more resilient than others, and how they build that resilience might be experiential. In other words, they've been through a variety of psychosocial stressful events or situations that have helped them to build that resolve, that resilience, and therefore they don't seem to get depressed even when they are stressed by specific stressors. However, having said that, depression cuts across various socioeconomic status groups, and the fact that a person is comfortable, is wealthy, is educated, has a good family, does not necessarily protect them from depression. However, some of those situations can actually help in recovery. From someone that's asking whether being close to an individual, you'd expect them to let you into their situation and what they are going through. The simple answer to this is that depression can be a very private and silent disorder, and many individuals are afraid to talk about what they are going through. They feel like talking about it will expose them, will make them appear weak, less than complete. It carries a certain level of stigma, and therefore it's not always that an individual will let on what they are going through. However, if such an individual does open up, then it's very important for them to be listened to and offered counseling and maybe referral to a mental health practitioner. So there's a tweet here that says that an individual appeared joyous, really referring to an individual who had died but appeared to have been just fine the day before. The reality is that many a person will have let on the fact that they were dissatisfied with life and they wanted to end their lives, but nobody took them seriously because they looked just fine. And that's why depression can be a very silent disease. The turmoil inside an individual may not be so obvious. Nobody walks around with a label on their foreheads that says, I'm depressed, look at me, I am thinking of ending my life. They struggle, it's an internal struggle. But some of the time they will have said stuff to the effect that they do think of ending their lives and they're thinking about ending their lives. So we have a tweet here that says depression and suicide is contributed to a greater extent by we people surrounding the victims, by knowing what to do, but doing nothing to help. And I think this is very reflective of the society we live in, that many a time a person is crying, is suffering, is reaching out, and we are doing nothing about it, either because we don't know what to do or because we don't want to face up to the stigma of living with or knowing that a person close to us has a mental health issue. However, when a situation arises and you are in a situation that you can help an individual like that, the easiest thing to do is to refer them to a mental health practitioner, to provide support by listening, not judging, and being accepting of that individual. Is there a way of predicting or telling that a person is at risk of ending their lives by suicide? There's a triad that we refer to. You know, if a patient says to you, or if a person says, I feel hopeless, I feel worthless, I feel helpless, those three things, not as standalones, but when those three feelings are expressed, usually that's a person who is at risk. That's a person who probably has intention, has intent to end their lives. But we also know that people who are thinking about suicide and are serious about their suicide will do what are referred to as final acts, like they'll give away their properties, they'll set their matters in order, they will write wills, they will do final acts, and they will also ensure when they are taking the action that there is no risk of being discovered. So, for example, they might just wait until everybody has left for work before they do something like that. So yes, they can let on in their own subtle little ways that they intend to end their lives. So in conclusion, let me say that suicide is a very final act of a journey of suffering from a mental health perspective. Has many causes. It's not an act of cowardice. It should be treated as the emergency it is, and when it is recognized, let it be addressed as quickly as possible to prevent the mortality. If you are listening and watching our channel, please subscribe to it and give us a thumbs up if you like it. Thank you.